All right, hey everybody, happy Tuesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for taking 30 minutes out of your day to come hang out with me. So if you've joined me before, you know the drill. We've got 30 minutes to cover our topic for this week, and this week we're talking all about Pinterest promoted pins. So we did a webinar on this a couple weeks ago. I was just getting started with Pinterest and their promoted pins. I was excited about promoted pins, but I was also a little worried because there's some things you can't do with promoted pins that you can do on Facebook. So I wasn't totally convinced that it was going to be a really effective way to advertise. So since then, I've had some time to play around on Pinterest and with their promoted pins. I'm actually really excited about it, and they're working a lot better than I thought they were going to. So now I'm actually seeing, I'm getting people to my list for about $1 an email with Pinterest, which is crazy. Totally blew my mind. I honestly didn't think that that I would, one, be able to get people on my list in an effective way, and two, get them for such a low cost. So really excited to see that happening. So I'm gonna walk you guys through the different steps that I went through to get a promoted pin that was converting that well. So I'm gonna walk you through exactly what I did, and there's some really cool things and some cool features in Pinterest that I think really help you figure out just how effective your ads are and if you're targeting the right people. So if you've played around with Pinterest promoted pins, then you might have noticed that you can't promote to, you can't drive traffic to an opt-in page or a lead capture page, right? So when I first created my first promoted pin, I was all excited, and of course I'm so impatient, you guys, so I didn't pay attention to the guidelines. So I missed that part. So my first pin I uploaded and it wasn't approved, and then I was really disappointed when the friendly people at Pinterest said, you can't do this. So once I figured, I was like, okay, fine. So I'm just gonna set up a couple other promoted pins just to see if it's even worth it to get traffic to my blog posts, things like that. So I noticed that it was a great way to get people to my blog post, but I wasn't able to get people on my email list. I was getting a couple people here and there, but the cost was really high. So I wanted to figure out a way to use it, but use it in a way that I could build my list. So I figured that out. So we're gonna walk through that today. If you guys haven't signed up for promoted pins, you actually need to go to Pinterest, and you can just Google Pinterest promoted pins, and you need to fill out a form. So you gotta put in your name, your email, all that good stuff. So you've got to apply, I guess, to get access to it. So I think it took me maybe 2 months. It took a while. It was a couple weeks that I waited before I got access to it. So if you think you're going to be using promoted pins in the future and you haven't filled out that little form yet, you just want to pop over to Pinterest and go ahead and fill that out so you can get on the list to get access for it. So I'm going to pop up some slides to share with you guys. So we're going to walk through step by step how I created these ads. So I'm going to pop this up here. All right, and just let me know if you guys can see this, if you have any problems seeing my slides. So let's dive into building your list with Pinterest promoted pins. So like I said, you can't drive traffic directly to an opt-in page. So we've kind of got to work around that a little bit. So what I did, since I can't drive them to my opt-in page, I just decided to create a little mini opt-in page inside of WordPress. So my website's hosted on WordPress. So I basically just created a post, a blog post on WordPress, and turn that into my opt-in page. So here's an example of the opt-in page. This is where I'm driving my traffic to right now. So it's pretty much a copy of my opt-in page. It's got a little bit more copy than my actual opt-in page that I use for Facebook. But that's okay. I think that it works for Pinterest. I actually, the first time I did this, I tested it out as just a normal blog post, and I use lead pages. So with lead pages, if you guys use that, I know a lot of people do, you can create what they call a lead box. So basically when someone clicks on a link, so if you click down there at the bottom where it says grab our 5 best performing ad templates, if you click that, it pops up a box where you can put in your name and your email. So I'm not having to send them to another page. But if they click that, I can go ahead and capture their name and their email. So the first go around, I just decided to add this into a blog post where I was talking about creating ads that convert. And that worked okay. And so I decided to clean it up a little bit more and just create an opt-in page that's just focused on driving traffic to the Facebook ad templates. So this was the page that I came up with, and it's actually working pretty well. So this is the page I'm using now. You know, just keep it really simple. Of course, you can add in a little bit of content to explain to people, you know, what's going on and what's working or what they're going to get when they download. If you want to mention a couple bullet points, go for it. But again, you can't just send them to a lead page, right? So we've got to work around that. If you've got WordPress, it's really easy to just create a blog post just like you would, you know, if you're putting up a normal blog post, and just turn that into an opt-in page, basically. So here's an example for you guys. So go ahead, start thinking about ways that you can use a blog post as your opt-in page. And then the second part is obviously we've got to create our image to help drive traffic to our website. So this is the same image that I shared with you guys last time, and it works. I don't necessarily think it's the best visual, but if it's getting clicks and if it's getting people there, then I'm going to stick with it. So just keep in mind, you know, Pinterest is a visual platform, so you want to make sure that all of your images that you use, they really catch the eye, they really stand out, they're going to grab attention. So anything that's unique or different, bright colors, anything that uses emotions, anything like that is going to work well on Pinterest, right? So just think of when you're on Pinterest and the things that catch your eye, what do you click on? That's usually a good way to start, so that way you can start to figure out, or you can find some images that are going to work for you. So this is the image that I created, and again, I use Dollar Photo Club, and I also use Canva, right? Because Canva's got a template for pins. So if you just pop over there, you can create an image really easy breezy. It doesn't take that long. Oh, and just a quick note, this is something to keep in mind on Pinterest. You cannot add a call to action to your image if you were going to turn it into a promoted pin. So if I put on there, click here or buy now, that pin would not be approved. So I just stuck with the name of, you know, the page that I'm sending them to. So you can put the title, your headline on there, but just, you know, be careful with your call to action. You can add a call to action down there in the description, but it cannot go on your image. They won't approve that. So just keep that in mind as you're creating your images, because, you know, on Facebook, we add call to actions to our images, and that usually works pretty well, but won't get away with it on on Pinterest. So create your image that's going to go along with your blog post. And something else I want to mention, you also want to make sure when you're putting up your blog post that you add an image in there that people can pin. So the image that I put on the Social Lab Facebook ad swipe file, someone could actually pin that to Pinterest. That way you get more pins, repins, more traffic, all of that good stuff. So you also want to include an image on your opt-in page that people can pin back to Pinterest if they want. All right, so that's step 1 and 2. Create your blog post and then create your pin for so that we can actually pin this to Pinterest. So now we're going to pop over. We're going to switch this up and we're going to pop over to Pinterest. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. All right, here we go. So this is the page, you guys. If you go here, business.pinterest.com, this is where you can go to sign up for your promoted pins. Okay, so here's my Pinterest page. So once you're on Pinterest, you've added your pin to Pinterest and you've got access to promoted pins. You're just gonna come up here to your little gear shift and select promoted pins. And then you're gonna click promote up here, the red one, this little red button. And then you'll be able to pick your pin. So, you know, you can do this, all of your pins, 30 days. So you can go through the pins that are the most clicked or the most repinned. So if you want to promote, you know, your popular content, if you've got a lot of great pins on Pinterest that are getting a lot of traffic, that's a great place to start. So let's stick with my Facebook ad templates because we've used that before. So select your pin. Now here's where it gets fun. So this is how we do our targeting on Pinterest. It's all based on keywords. So we're not targeting people based on what pages they like. We can't target email list or website traffic. It's just keywords. So think of some keywords that your audience might be searching for. So for me, I think the first round I did Facebook advertising. So I'm just going to select that. So you'll see it's going to pull up a list, right? So these are your results, and then it also pulls up some related terms. So it's always helpful to look over here. There might be some ideas that maybe you didn't think of that might be a good fit for you. So I'm just going to hit Facebook advertising. So if you just click that, you'll see over here on the right-hand side, it's adding a list of terms. So I'm going to add Facebook advertising. I'm going to do Facebook advertising design, Facebook advertising post, and let's do some online marketing. So you can play around with this and see what options pop up, what might be a good fit. So I'm going to do online marketing tips. Select that one. Let's see, online marketing tips and social media. So you can go through here, play around, add a couple. I think you can add up to like 150 keywords or something like that, or search terms, which is just absolutely insane. I would not get that crazy. You know, think of your industry and, you know, really just focus on the keywords that you actually think people are going to be searching for. And think of things that you search for on Pinterest when you're looking for help, or if you're trying to find pins related to a certain topic. So I stuck with just, you know, Facebook advertising and online marketing were really the two that I stuck with for my first round of ads. So like sword art is probably not going to be a good fit for me. Maybe it's a good fit for you, but I don't think that that's where my clients are hanging out. So come up with some terms. I think the first ad I did, I think I had maybe 10 to 15 that I started with. Now the cool thing, and I'm going to show you this in a second, is that Pinterest will actually show you where your traffic is coming from based on these keywords. So you'll know how much you're spending on each keyword, and you'll also know how many opt-ins you're getting, how many clicks you're getting. So you can start to narrow down by what's working best. So you're not spending money on keywords that don't work. So you can definitely start broader here, add a couple in there, and then you can start to narrow them down, because once your ads have been up and running for 24 hours or so, then you get access to the reporting. So you can start to see what people are actually searching for. And that's one of my favorite features. So I'm going to show you an example of a report that I pulled. And that's really the key in getting your costs down. So our next option, your audience. So of course you can narrow down by location here. So if you're a local business and you only want to target people in your area, so if I just wanted to target people in Albany, Georgia, I could select that, and then my ad would only show to people in that location. You can also select your language here if you want. Device, so if you only want your ad to be shown to people that have iPhones, you can definitely do that, or Droids. So you've got that option in here. And of course, gender. So if you work with women and you only want your ad to be shown to women, then you'll select female, or you can do the guys if that works better for your business. So these are all options in here. All right, so now let's talk about your bid. So I talked about this a little bit on the last webinar, and in Facebook, you've got a lot of different ways you can bid, and that you can budget your spend, right? So you can do optimized bidding, you can do the CPC, but on Pinterest, this is it. This is your one and only option for bidding, right? So we're keeping it simple, and this is kind of the old school way of advertising, at least for Facebook. You know, you always had to put in what you're willing to pay. So how this works, you're gonna put in your maximum CPC bid, and what this means is this is the most you're willing to pay for a click. It doesn't mean you're gonna pay that much for a click, but basically what this does is say, hey, I'm willing to pay this much, so I'm really serious about advertising, and I really want to make sure that this pin gets out there and it gets in front of the right people. So usually the higher you bid, the more aggressive you bid, the faster your ad gets out into the feed. So I think for my first ad, I just started with $5. I just said, okay, you know what? I'm willing to spend $5 a click. You can still set your daily budget. I'm going to show you how to do that here in a second. So, you know, you're not going to spend $5 a click. And if you are, then obviously your ads aren't working. But that's just the most you're willing to spend. But again, you're not going to spend that much. It's just how aggressive you bid is going to affect how fast your ads get out into the feed. So I'm just going to go with $5 for now. But don't be scared to bid high here. It's not going to hurt anything. You're not going to wake up to a bill, you know, of $100 for running one ad for one day. You've got your destination URL, that's here. So we've already selected the pin that we're promoting, so it just brought in the link for that ad. You can choose an existing campaign if you want, or you can create a brand new campaign. It's totally up to you. You can set your start date and your end date. So if you only want this to run for 2 weeks or at a specific date, you can set that here. If you leave it blank, it's just gonna keep running until you come in and you turn it off. And your daily budget. So if you only want to spend, you know, it's just like on Facebook. So if you say, I only want to spend $5 a day, that's all I'm willing to spend, then you set that here. If you want to spend $20, $100 a day, whatever you set your budget to. So you don't have to worry about if you do a high bid here for your CPC, you're still not going to go over your daily budget, right? So if you set that at $5, you're not going to spend more than $5 a day. So let's just set that to $5 for now. And that's it. And then you just hit promote this pin. And so it's going to take some time for your pin to get approved. And then once it's been running for 24 hours, you will have access to all the tracking and reporting. So one other thing that I want to show you, because I'm really happy that they introduced this, if you come up here to tools, you'll see conversion tracking. So if you've set up ads on Facebook before, you always have to select which conversion pixel you're using as part of the ad, right? It's part of setting up your ad. But Pinterest, it's not that way. It's kept in a separate place. You come to tools, and we're gonna select conversion tracking. So here's how we set up. So I've got one set up. This is one that I'm running right now. So you're just gonna click create a conversion tag. So it's really simple. It's similar to how you do it on Facebook. You're gonna name your tag, so you can name it whatever you want. I'll just name it test for now. You can select your conversion type. So here are the different things you track conversions for, right? You've got your page visit, a sign up, a checkout, or you can do custom. And over here on the right-hand side, they've got a nice little glossary of conversion types. So obviously a page visit is a visit to your site. A sign up, so this is if you want to track a sign up for your newsletter, your emails, that kind of thing. You can also track for checkout. So if you've got a site where you're selling products, you can track how many sales are actually coming from your promoted pin. Or you could do custom. So if you've got something else you're wanting to track for, you could create this if you want. So obviously for building our email list, we're going to track for signups. And then you can pick your time frame here. So basically they're going to track for how many conversions you have within that time frame. So clicks, you can track clicks for 30 days, 60 days, 14 days, 7 days. I left mine at 30. And engagement is the same. You've got a couple options there. And then also your views. So I just left this set how it was for now. Until I can start playing around it. So just keep it simple. And again, here's your little glossary over here. So clicks, obviously someone on Pinterest clicks your pin and they keep going to your site. So a click is when they actually leave Pinterest and go to your site, right? It's not just clicking on the pin. Engagement, so if someone repins your pin or they click to see it close up, right? So that counts as an engagement, not a click, which is nice that they separate that out. Like I want to know how many actual clicks I'm getting to my website, not just clicks in general, whether they were clicking on the pin or they actually went to the website. And then views, so how many times or when someone sees your pin on Pinterest. So once you've got that all set, you'll just hit create tag. And then you get your code, right? So here's your code that you're just gonna add. It's just like your conversion tracking on Facebook. You're gonna take this piece of code and you'll install it. Like if you've got lead pages, there's a place to put your tracking code. So you just put that there. If you've got WordPress, they've got plugins you can use to add your tracking code. But whatever type of site you use, there's always a place. They either call it a conversion tracking code or a pixel code or an SEO code. It's always called something different. But if you poke around, you should see something that says something to that effect. So you'll just copy this and add that to your site. And so once it's been added to your site, then you can start to track your conversions. So something that that you need to remember when you are running ads on Pinterest. So again, your ads have to be up for 24 hours before you can get the data. And you have to click this export data button over here. So it's not going to tell you, like you don't see any conversions here, right? You can't see any type of conversions. So if I just hit export data, it's going to export a nice little CSV file for me where I can pull and it'll tell me how many pins, repins, conversions, all of that good stuff. So I'm actually going to share an example of that with you guys now. So hang tight while I swap screens again. All right. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this. So when you pull this report, this is a list of all the terms that I searched for or that I tested out on the first ad batch that I ran. So Facebook advertising design, it's got this whole list, right? So the cool thing about this is that it's gonna tell you exactly what you spent on each keyword, so how much you spent per keyword. And then over in that last column, that's how many conversions you have. So at first I was a little annoyed because I thought I was spending, you know, over $3 a conversion. But once I came into the reports and I started digging around, so online marketing and online marketing ideas, right? So those are where I had the most conversions, 2 and 3, but that's a start. So at 408, and I had 3 conversions there, I'm spending about $1.36 per conversion. That's not terrible. I'm actually okay with that. So it's starting to look a little bit better, right? So online marketing was next on the list, and I had 2 conversions there. So that's about 79 cents a conversion. That's really good. I'd be super stoked to have an ad running at 79 cents a conversion. So some of these others I spent money on though. So online marketing plan, $2.65, and I didn't have any conversions. Online marketing promotion at $3.20 and no conversions. And then social media marketing, $5.47 and 1 conversion. So that's pretty expensive, right? So I decided not to focus on those keywords because the cost was just too high for what I wanted to spend. So once I started weeding out the ones that weren't working, and these were the only 5 conversions that I had, so 2, 3, and 1. Those were the only conversions for someone signing up for my email list. The rest of those didn't convert at all. So, and they were all over $1.50, $1.60, something like that. So I might let some of these run just to see if I get some conversions, but if I definitely know that cost is just too high, I'm not willing to pay that, then I can nix those keywords and you can update your ads in real time. So if you pull this every day and you see, okay, well that keyword is not performing, the cost is too high, you can go into your pin, you can edit it and just remove that keyword. So that way you're not wasting money on showing your ad to people that it may not be a good fit for. So this is something that I wish Facebook had. You know, if you're testing out a couple different interests or targeting groups, unless you split them into individual ad sets, you don't always know where the majority of your clicks or your conversions are coming from. So it's not as easy to tell on Facebook. But I love this report because it just shows you exactly, this is how much you spent, this is your reach, this is how many pins, repins, and then this is how many conversions you got. So, you know, you've got to pull, you've got to actually export this like I just showed you. So if you want to see these conversions, then you pull the report and you just see, and so you can start to weed them out. So now I'm just focusing on online marketing and online marketing ideas, and I think there were a couple others. I ran another ad, so I kind of combined the list, but it's still a pretty small list. I think there's maybe only 5 keywords in there, and the average is about $1 an email. So that really helps to get your costs down, right? And you're not wasting money on stuff that doesn't work. So I'm really excited about it. I think that I think it's going to be a great way to advertise. So I would love to hear what you guys are up to. If you've got any questions, you can type them in the chat box. But I know a lot of people don't have access to promoted pins yet. So again, you just need to pop over to that website and go ahead and get on the list now, because if you don't get on the list now, you'll probably be waiting for a couple weeks. I don't think it's taking as long, but you want to make sure you go ahead and get on that list so you've got access to them. So, you know, I still love Facebook. I'm absolutely still going to advertise on Facebook, but I think that Pinterest is also a great option. So really excited to have that as an option to play around with. All right, you guys, so that's all that I've got for us today. So if you've got access to it, give it a shot. Go set up a couple ads, promoted pins, see what happens, create your opt-in page in WordPress, and see if you get some opt-ins that way. And if you don't have access to it, just make sure you pop over to Pinterest and go ahead and get on their list. So it doesn't look like we've got any questions so far. And that's no problem. So if any questions come up, or if you guys need help with any of your upcoming advertising campaigns, just drop me an email, hello@sociallabmarketing.com. I always respond, and I love getting your emails. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions, or if you run into any issues when you're getting your promoted pin set up. Still a new thing, so I'm sure there'll be some surprises along the way. So I hope you guys all have an awesome week, and we will be back next Tuesday. So keep an eye on your inbox. I will send out all the details on Tuesday. Have a great week, everybody.